Hey ratbags, it's Jay. Today I was going to do like a critical video. 10 things Grounded absolutely needs to change. And you know what? I was struggling. I'm really struggling. You might call me a fanboy, and there will be some of them angry nerds that live in their mum's basement going, yeah, you're too positive. Shut up. Grounded's a great game. It's a fantastic game. Fact, 93% positive review score on Steam. Fact, 83% Metacritic score. That makes it a fantastic game. 13 million of you have played it or tried it at one point. So to negative people that try and crap on this game, it does give me the ump, and I will argue with you all day long when you try it. Not to say it doesn't have issues, and I have mentioned some of these issues in the past, but I don't really feel the need to go on about them day in, day out. That's just boring. Like, why do you want to see me complain about stuff like that? Thank the bugs that you guys don't. You're happy to see me let's play, gameplay guides and reviews, and of course maybe theory crafting about the future of Grounded. So that's what this video has ended up being. A little bit of what I expected to see maybe in the 1.0 update, but mostly about where I think the future of the game could go, and hopefully just some solid suggestions. If the devs don't listen to any of them and they think they're all stupid, or you guys do too, that's okay. I'm still going to enjoy Grounded for what it is now. But if I was really trying to have my cake and eat it too, here are 10 of the things that I really wish Grounded might think about in the future. 1. More recipes and more smoothies. I actually included this in the things I expected to see for the 1.0 update, and I'm not going to lie, I was a bit disappointed not to see. But you can clearly see we've got all these recipes made out of all sorts of stuff, but none of them are using any of the new bug resources. In fact, a lot of them don't even use some of the later candies. I feel like this needs to be fleshed out. I always assumed that the spaces below would result in more meals, and I think this is something that the Grounded team will add in the next 6 to 9 months. Same thing goes for the smoothies obviously as well. It doesn't make sense that there's no smoothies or foods using any of the new bugs or certain resources. I'd even say that it'd be cool to add even another base option. What if rust was something that you could add to smoothies? We've got just the general ones where you get the smoothie type and the effects. So damage resist here with human food. Then we get the health bonus where it increases your health. And then we get the effects that stick longer. So it does feel like all bases are covered. But what if rust gave the option for food to last even longer? Or every piece of food that you crafted with rust would also give you a 2-minute boost to stamina. Obviously some of these are geared towards stamina already, so maybe that doesn't work out like that. But the main point is, yes, I want more of the recipes and foods to be able to be crafted from some of the new stuff. We've got obviously fire ant parts, we've got the tiger mosquito parts, black widow parts. Give us some more smoothies or foods that can do extra poison damage, extra magic damage. These are the kinds of things that I would expect in the future. Now in the video that I did label the 12 things I expect to see, I did say I would like to see other ways to traverse, and we've kind of now got it. The up zip line is a fantastic addition. That said, I still desperately want to see some proper gliders added. I think it's important that we have other ways to get around. Although it seems like zip lines are the mainstay, and we have obviously got like the special tuff that you can get now that will last a bit longer, it'd be nice to have something a bit more juicier. Maybe it doesn't have to be gliders, but certain things or certain pieces of armour that can help get us around the yard in different cool ways. Gliders are the most obvious. We saw that they once thought about adding a helicopter to the game, and Adam has mentioned a few times talking about possibilities of gliders, but they need their level designer to come up with something interesting or make a use of them in some way, not just getting around the backyard as is. So that could be something we see in a big update or possibly DLC in the future. But it would be so cool. Not only gliders, but something where we could actually jump around. And again, I've rehashed some of these ideas from a previous video. It'd be so cool to have, I don't know, bouncy footwear. What if we could make rusty springs and we could have a pair of brand new bug high tops that would allow you to jump double the height that you previously could. We've already got Natural Explorer pinging us across the yard, seemingly not going to be changed or nerfed, and it absolutely does a great job in getting you around quicker. But it's not all about quicker, it's about how to utilise different ways and traverse different parts of the environment. If you could have a pair of boots that made you jump twice as high, or a little bit higher at least, I think that would be super cool. I'm sure the devs would push back and say, well, if we added them kinds of features, why would you have to build anymore? I still think there's plenty of places in the yard that you could build to, or you need to build if you want to get up places. But it'd still make things just so much more fun and interesting if we've got other ways to get across the yard. Of course, a lot of you guys want bugs and being able to tame and ride them. From everything I can tell, the devs don't really have much of an interest in it. They've mentioned it's cool and everything, and sometimes the devs probably just need to say no, we're not going to be working on that idea, rather than what they normally do is say, yeah, that could be on the list, or you know, it's something we're thinking about. All well knowing it might not be something they actually ever add, or it might not be something they do for another year or so. I mean, I guess that's the reason why they don't want to ever rule something out just in case they do decide to add something like that. But for sure, it does feel like bug riding isn't something they're interested in, and I've come to live with that. I first toyed with the idea. I didn't want it to become just like Ark, like I said. And if you start riding bugs, then that's what this game becomes. Just another Ark clone, in my opinion. So you'd have to limit it. And I guess that's going to roll it into idea number 3. Even though I just said I don't think the dev's going to do it, I still think it would be cool to have a couple of the creatures that you could ride. We only have a few of the creatures we can make our pets. So it wouldn't be the end of the world that we only have a couple creatures that we could actually do something with and use to get across the yard. But the point is then, where do you stop? People will then start complaining that if we made the roly-poly rideable or tameable, then why can't I go ahead and ride a ladybird larvae? So there'd have to be a real big revamp and a real good system to explain why we can only ride certain creatures or their uses. If we're really going to go on, they've got to be the largest creatures going, then that pretty much only makes it for roly-polies, black ox beetles, ladybirds, and maybe some of the larger spiders. The mechanics in that, I imagine, would be absolutely massive. Trying to get a 8-legged spider to go across terrain when you're controlling it, rather than the pre-programmed AI or the way that it works, that would be pretty nuts. Does Grounded need it? Well, now we've got up zip lines as well. Now we've also got the ability to run fast. We probably don't need actual taming creatures for that reason. So how could they add it, and why would I like to see it? Well, what if it was added to an arena? We've recently seen that at one point they were working on some sort of DLC arena by the looks of things, and that's where the dragon armor, possibly fighting the dragon, and some of the other bits might have occurred. Looks like that idea got cancelled, but it'd be so cool if we could take bugs into battle. What if it was a free update or a paid DLC, which I've got no problem with, where you could literally become a bug? Maybe not even ride it. Maybe they could have transmitters on their heads, just like the red ants or the fire ants do. And that would explain in lore or story that Omnium were looking to control the bugs because they could do stuff at microscopic level or tiny level that humans couldn't. Imagine bug wars, proper bug wars. You've seen me do these kinds of videos way back when, maybe when I covered Grounded on my main channel. And then Mudders Chudders has took that to another level, doing all sorts of boss battles versus bosses or creatures versus creatures. So what if we were directly in control of some of these creatures? That would be so cool. Now that one is a bit pie in the sky kind of stuff, but if it was done in a specially built set of arenas, they could redesign and make the terrain easier to get across with these bugs, hopefully help with animation and stuff like that, and it would kind of satisfy maybe a little bit of that idea of being able to control bugs. Or being able to ride them and go and joust with them. If they ever do revisit the arena idea, that's what I would like to see. Not only just us fighting each other in an arena or fighting bugs in waves, but actually being able to ride the bugs into battle. Next, it's base building and defenses more. Now this is something I know that they're probably working on, as they've mentioned it that they want ideas from us. We've seen the splinter traps as part of the first wave, and I'm pretty sure they're going to see more added in the future, especially the base parts used in a tier 3. But specifically, I want more inventive base defense features. Felt like some of the stuff they cancelled way back when, like catapults or maybe honey traps or ice traps, they were some cool ideas. I'd love to see them re-implemented in some way. They might not be super effective, and it still might make more sense just to use what we've already got. But it's about what you can do with that, how inventive you can be having more choices. At the moment, the base raiding mechanics are a little bit hit and miss. You can build in certain places where you'll probably never actually experience a raid on your base. And until you get to the late game, the base actual raiding mechanics are pretty weak sauce. You don't really have to worry about them too much. But yeah, more jump pads that we could put flat on the floor. Like a mix between a web jumper and obviously maybe the catapult they didn't add. Spikes that come out of walls. Boulder traps or rock traps that would actually crunch creatures below them. Like on a hydraulic system that goes up and down. Other ways to just make some of the base mechanics more interesting, even if they're not necessarily needed, just to have a bit more fun and a bit more variety. Another one that actually I don't think they'll be able to necessarily do fairly easily is blueprint porting. So what do I mean by that? Some games have the ability where you can literally copy a base design completely go ahead and upload it, and other players can go ahead and use that design. Think of things like Scrap Mechanic or maybe even Space Engineers. Now you might argue we've already got that since we can share worlds, and I would say yeah, okay, fair enough. But because shared worlds can be a whole world, and it might be a world that people have completed, there's maybe not as much reason to share it unless you're literally just playing with friends. But for lots of solo players out there, how cool would it be if you could download other players' creations? If a player has built a fantastic castle or a base or a network so you can get across the yard quicker, what if you could actually transport that and go ahead and just place that one building wherever you want? That would be a lot of work, I ain't gonna lie, getting it to fit in certain terrain pieces and stuff like that. I could understand why something like that might not. Grounded is not Minecraft. It's not all just one blocks that you can destroy or get rid of in terrain or simple commands. There's lots of actual grass pieces and stuff that doesn't actually go away, and so I imagine that would be the biggest block in doing something like this, working around terrain and how to fit it. But the Grounded team did once speak about having player generated gameplay, and I always thought that meant something like this, being able to create maybe mini games, but not just create them but share them. That's a big part of certain games' success, like Scrap Mechanic, that you can share your creations. Like I said, we have got it in a limited way now with the shared world feature, but it'd be nice if we could do that even on a smaller scale with just certain bases. Terraria fans might like this one. How about being able to share your character across worlds? Grounded's focus has always been a bit RPG and story-like alongside survival. And so the idea is that you wouldn't really want to take your character over to another sandbox or whatever, because you're missing out on the development of that character on that world. But it's fair to say a lot of you guys would love it if you could go and help a friend out, but also take some of them rewards back to your world. Now this would have to be carefully managed. For a game centered mostly for younger people, you've got to worry about trolls, but games like Terraria have done it for years. Valheim does it pretty successfully, and Core Keeper also does it. Transferring your characters to other servers, other saves, would give players more reason to replay. Imagine you complete the game on mild, but you want to now go up to maybe medium. Well, what if you could take your character to give you that bit of a boost? Or try WoW mode or hardcore mode. So even being able to transfer your character across your own saves with your own upgrades already done, I think that would still be cool. Would it be used as much? Maybe, maybe not. But certainly transferring between characters between your friends' worlds, make it an option. You control it, you can turn it on or off. And if there's people you absolutely trust and you know they're not going to troll you and take all of your building resources, you could say to them, hey, come over, bring me 200 mushroom bricks. I'll give you 200 smoothies, and you could do trading and deals with each other. There's all sorts of things you could do with player sharing or character sharing. Another one to do with building that I really want, and I've been saying it for a long time, I want to be able to merge blueprints together better. At the moment, you can't really merge certain things together as it will come up red. Basically want it to be more forgiving about where or what you can place certain pieces. I think it would add more creative building. Games like Art Survival Evolved have this, they have an option. When you play on official servers, there's a lot more restrictions. But when you play on your own world, you can disable clipping. And that enables you to merge certain things together a little bit. This can add a huge amount more crazy design building. Grounded's building system is cool. It does the job. And there have been some fantastic builds. I'm so pleased they've added a new set. And looks likely they're going to be adding or doing more of it in the future. But I want them to be a bit more forgiving in snap points. And like I said, being able to merge certain pieces together a little bit more. I think builders out there will know what I'm talking about. It might not seem like a big deal to most of you guys if you don't build that much. But once you've played games like Ark, or possibly even Conan to some extent, you'll get what I'm talking about. You can do so much more with creative decoration pieces if you're able to merge certain pieces in the mesh. Number 9. I guess this is where I'm going to get a bit critical. I recently caught one of the live streams and the team there mentioned that they are discussing possibility of having cosmetics. They also said they haven't got any plans for DLC at the moment. And that led me to my poll. Like 12,000 of you guys voted and it ended up being like 70% of you guys wanted to see some sort of DLC or microtransactions or cosmetics. But the overwhelming majority wanted to see big updates with DLC rather than just cosmetics on their own. Like only 3 or 4% actually wanted cosmetic microtransactions. Unless Grounded do something really stupid and add a bunch of microtransactions that are way too expensive, I'm not going to criticise them. But I still probably would be disappointed if they start just doing cosmetics on their own. Even alongside big chunky updates, I don't necessarily like the idea of cosmetic items sold like that in other games because it becomes a big focus. They're all done by different teams, but then you start seeing more and more of them cosmetics being sold and maybe less and less of actual chunky content or updates. But that is the way that the gaming world is now. If I'm being truthful and honest, every game under the sun would love to have a revenue stream where they could sell packs of cosmetics every few months, because it's a lot easier to do that than create big massive worlds or big chunky updates. Now, do I think Grounded are going to do that? No. I do believe they were to add packs, and that's what I think they would do. If they ever sold cosmetics, it wouldn't be like $5 for one skin or one decorative piece. It would be $5 for like 10 decorative pieces, and you'd get a pack. The Christmas tree, as I've been showing you guys, and I could be completely wrong, I feel like this is a test of stuff like that in the future. Special event items. At the moment that we use raw science to buy, but in the future I'm expecting eventually you'll use real world cash. Now, Obsidian have done loads of DLC in the past. Microsoft love microtransactions. Think about Minecraft, think about Sea of Thieves, and a lot of their other games have them in it too. I've got no problem with DLC, and it's a bit old age and fashioned now really, but that's what I would prefer. I'd prefer to see a big chunky update that I'd pay $20 for to go and explore the shed, $20 to go and explore the gas station, $20 to go and explore the inside of the house, with new levels, new bugs, new armor, new weapons. Even if that took a lot longer to actually do and make, and it meant the difference between waiting 6 months to a year, I would totally be down for that. Like I said, it's old fashioned, not a lot of game developers are doing DLC like that. But you think about games like Ark, which have got a ton of DLC in that way. You spend $15-20 or buy the season pass for $34 and you get a brand new map, brand new bugs, brand new items to use. And all them items can be used back in your base game. But the devs have said they're not going to work on that. So what if that content is free? What if we do get to explore the inside of the house, the shed, or another backyard? And that's a big content update drop. And then they add some cosmetics alongside it. I could probably live with that. But like I said, eventually it feels like a lot of games that have done that in the past have ended up kind of whittling down. And so that the content you actually get is less and less, but you do get more and more of the cosmetics being sold. I've stopped covering Conan Exiles in my main channel because they've done something similar where they had Battle Pass, Cosmetic Shop, and the content people are getting is nowhere near as good as it used to be. But yes, of course, I want more content for Grounded. I want either DLC or big free updates added. It's a great game, so I can't see why a great game that's received so well, played by so many, doesn't actually get future content. Lastly, more fun stuff. I probably could have included this a bit earlier. I want more stuff like the basketball hoop. How about some football, aka soccer to you heathens, actual goalposts? How about being able to craft and make a ball ourselves out of berries, rather than just try and use them? We've got things like the dice that you can move around, but it'd be so cool to have proper generated stuff that we can make fun stuff out of. And this might tie into their once idea on the feature board, player generated content. What if there was a bug foosball table made out of aphids and weevils, and it became a little mini game? You know, like where you play other games, where you get to play some old ancient arcade game within that world. What if there was something like that in Grounded? Heck, what even if there was an actual arcade game within Grounded, just like that? Imagine being able to play some old Microsoft game. Maybe they could even nab some of the games from Rare. Going off course a little bit, but I want more fun stuff added. Items and stuff that don't have any real base use, but we can make more mini games. Archery targets, where we can actually practice and it will ping with a number every time you hit either the outer, the middle, or bang on the target. Maybe have like Rock'em Sock'em. If we're not going to have actual rideable bugs or a bug DLC, what if we could mount bugs on sticks in a way and you press the button and they would fight each other? Very basic, very crude, but just something a bit silly and more stuff that players could have fun with. Challenging their friends to come and have a go of Rock'em Sock'em, proper soccer, or yeah, an archery competition. That's the kind of stuff I would love to see added more in Grounded's future to make the replayability better. Now the stuff that I'm not that bothered by, but everyone else seems to be. People want weather. Weather, I think weather can be interesting, but I think weather right now in the backyard would kind of upset a lot of the story. We really have been in here for months and months so that winter sets in. People want rain, but you know what? Rain in most games is boring. It gives you a debuff, It just makes everything look grey and dull. I'm not sure we actually need weather. People want more bugs and more weapons and armors in the base game, like here in the backyard. Are you mad? Just look how many weapons we have in the game. It's got to be some of the biggest range I've ever seen in a survival game. The armors as well. There are so many different armor sets. We do not need any more armor or any more weapons. They all have their uses and jobs. Like I said, if we're going to get anything new, it's got to be different ways to traverse, something really unique and different, rather than just giving us an extra buff or damage against something. But there we go. That's what I really think, my critical opinion, I guess suggestions. That's the point. If you're going to be critical, don't just sit there saying this doesn't work or I don't like this. Come up with some solutions or suggestions about what could make it better, what you'd like to see improve. It's true, with 1.0, the idea that lots of these suggestions could make it into Grounded might not be as real as it once was. They're going to probably take their time a little bit more now and make sure that whatever they put into the game is something they really want to do and something different and unique from the base game. But I'm hoping that that little mix of quality of life stuff, maybe a little bit out there, is something they can think about. I'd love to know what the developers think of my ideas. I might even tag Adam on Twitter and hopefully he might even get back to us about some of these. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Give me at least 3 big suggestions about what you want to see added. Realistic or not, let me know what you want to see. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll see you later.